Every day we breathe in particles from the air, dust, germs, pollen, other pollutants, and they get stuck in the back of our throat, on the mucous membrane back there. And if you're allergic and there's pollen, you react to that pollen. If there's germs and it gets absorbed into your body, that germ can cause an illness. So using the Neti Pot washes away all those particles so that you don't have allergies, so you don't have sickness. So really everyone needs to use the Neti Pot because all of us are breathing that dirty air. Now, if you have allergies or you have chronic sinus problems, then you really need to use the Neti Pot because, the act of washing your nose, the act of washing away the debris, the mucus, actually helps people who have chronic sinus problems resolve them. Most people have sinus infections because the sinuses aren't draining properly. And when you wash your nose with salt solution, you actually help keep the openings of the sinuses free and clear and draining properly. The sinuses, all of us have sinuses, these cavities, these spaces in our bony structure in our head, and they're all mucous membrane lined, and they're all making mucus, and that's normal. But if the mucus can't get out of that sinus, then it causes pain and pressure and then infection. The Neti Pot can really help people who have those kind of problems, but it can help everyone. Truth is. The nose is divided into two sides, and there's a septum between them that ends about at the level of your cheeks. So you pour the water in one side, it goes around the back of the septum and out the other side. So it comes right out the other side of your nose. It's simple. It doesn't go up into your brain, it doesn't do anything funny in your ears. It's a very simple structure here in your nose. The nice thing about the Neti Pot is that there's no force. You just put your nose between the pot and gravity, and the gravity pulls it right through your nose. So there's no pressure, there's no harm to your nose. Even if you're stuffy, there's no harm done by this method of nasal wash. The process is very passive. It's just the water flowing in one side, around the back, and out the other side. I've taught this to hundreds of people by now, and the majority of people say, it's so refreshing, that's a good feeling, it shouldn't be painful at all. If the salt concentration is not right, that means if the salt's too salty or not enough salt, either way, too much or too little, it's going to make the nose burn. That's the only reason why you should have any sort of discomfort. Actually, the other things that are sort of the things that can cause problems are if you put your head too far down, put your forehead too far down, you can get water up into your frontal sinus, which can cause a headache. And if you put the water in your nose and turn your head too far this way, too far with your nose up toward the ceiling, you can get water into your eustachian tube, the tube between your ear and your throat, and it can give you a sensation of having a plugged ear. But really, those are the only really problems that people come up against with using the Neti Pot. Salt water is what your tears are made of. Actually, every tissue in your body is bathed in this weak salt solution called saline. So we match that same solution as tears and run it through your nose, so there's no irritation. It's only a soothing feeling. I tell people to bend over their sink with their chin lower than their forehead, and then begin to turn their head so that their nose goes from straight down to straight over. And as they're doing that, they're lifting the pot. So it takes a little while to get the mechanics of that, but once they get it, people find it very easy. Anybody can do it. I've taught children as young as 6. I've taught adults as old as 82. Any age can do it. And if you're stuffy, if you're congested, what will happen is you'll start to pour the water through, and it'll go drip, 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 instead of pouring freely through. But you still can use it then. The only time I tell people to hold off is if they go to pour it in and nothing comes out. If it's just so blocked that nothing will pour through, I'd say, okay, hold off and wait till later. Deviated septum isn't an obstacle to this. It'll pour freer through one side than the other, but you still can do it with a deviated septum. I encourage everyone to use the Neti Pot every day. at least once a day. And if you have a cold or flu, use it as often as you need to. It could be you do it every hour, every 2 hours. I have friends who do it very often, 8, 10 times a day during allergy season. So there's no harm in doing it more often. It's really you do it to your comfort level. That's the everyday thing, yeah. So if you're washing away the dirt and germs that you might actually have a sickness from or get a sickness from. The truth is, all of us are breathing those germs in every day. So if you wash them away, then you don't get sick. Especially if you get exposed to, your office, everyone has the flu, and you're trying not to get it. You wash your nose every day, you avoid taking in that germ. Or if you work with kids, and they all have colds and flus, you're not going to get sick from those kids if you wash your nose every day. It's really great. It's a great thing for prevention. The salt you use needs to be pure salt with no other thing added to it. So no iodine, ideally not even sea salt, because sea salt has many other ingredients, minerals, and a little bit of sand in it that you don't want to put in your nose. You just want pure sodium chloride. Neti Wash Plus are herbal additives that you add to the salt water in the Neti Pot. There's 2 kinds of Neti Wash Plus. The one kind is zinc and herbs, and it's really an anti-inflammatory. You take it when your nose feels like there's swelling, when you have allergies, inflammation in your nose. It helps to quell that, to tighten the membranes, to make them less boggy and congested. The aromatic Neti Wash Plus has more aromatic essential oils in it to help keep the airways open and free so you can breathe easier. The Neti Stick is simply a little aromatic inhaler. So very much like the aromatic Neti Wash Plus, you inhale it to help keep the airways open and free so you can breathe easily. Really, everyone needs to use the Neti Pot.